ever happened in a book?
Books took my words. I knowed it.
The mule is a very central character, but it is not the book is not written by the mule.
Mm-hmm. The mule just does the hee-hawing.
The mule does some murdering.
See, okay, this is the propaganda of libraries, though, right? Like, maybe Paul was right. Maybe books are sneaky time thieves, but now we think of books as like, oh, this amazing thing, and then Reddit, bad. Maybe book bad.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mean Book Club. This episode, we read The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek by Michele Richardson. Woo,
Splish, splash. Splish, splash.
Pages flutter.
Perfect. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Sarah Burton.
What's up? I'm Clara Morris.
What's up also, John Escravus?
What's up, Tutu? Sabrina B. Jordan.
Yeah, that time we did our last names. That's fun.
You started.
I know.
I'm a sheep. I follow whatever is set.
I should be consistent, and I'm not. But that doesn't
good.
matter.
They can look us up now.
Yeah,
Google
now
image
yeah.
search.
Mm-hmm. You can find my defunct Twitter.
Mean Book Club. We read New York Times bestsellers that we're like, should they be? Usually they're submitted by fans, and they maybe read them for their book club and wanted to complain about them, and that's what we're here to do.
Help you get back at your book club.
Right.
Get 'em.
Stupid book.
It's therapy. It's therapeutic, really. So, John, why are we reading this book?
We are reading this book because of a mean book clubber, Ellen F. And here's what Ellen had to say. And I'm going to read the whole thing because I think it's important, okay? Okay. Please read The Book Woman of Troublesome Creek. It's about a woman who travels around the Appalachians supposedly so she can deliver books, but it's really so that she can stumble upon an insane number of horrible things happening to poor people. And so that she can hit you over the head with a sort of metaphor for racism that feels like it was written by a well-intentioned white 8th grader who just learned about segregation. And best of all, it is all written in a folksy, hokey, cane-tuck dialect that is painfully cringy. Anyway, thanks for reading this. If you read this far, I love the podcast, and I mean this genuinely. I love the segment where you describe what the cover feels like. The Book Woman has a pretty good cover texture if that entices you further.
Okay. Did anybody does anybody have the physical book and is reading the physical book?
No.
Oh, wow.
I'm sad to say no, I did
Wow.
not.
What a disappointment.
We set up LNF and then we smashed her down.
I'll Google it.
Or you think you'll be able to get some
You're going to
texture
feel the
information?
screen?
Yeah, you need texture. We're not describing what it looks like. That's not what she said she loved.
Well, she said she loved judge a book by its cover. That's what I heard. That's what I'm going
Okay,
off
all right.
of.
So we're going to give it to her.
All right,
Book
I guess
cover or notwithstanding.
Okay, so the book cover, as depicted by Amazon.com, is the image of a girl,
The podcast
young woman,
where we describe website images to
young woman. I assume it's our main character, and it's just her like vaginal area down.
Okay.
And you can see
A lot
her
of people would say
hands.
waist down, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I can't see her waist. I can see below her
Can you
waist.
see her vagina?
Well, I could if it wasn't covered by, I think, a book or two bound in twine. She is also
They're up
wearing a
there?
dress.
It is pretty vaginal. I get that.
Yeah.
It's vaginal.
All right, I
yes.
got
So, all right, we got a young woman shoving some books up her vagina with
Yes,
some twine.
With some twine. She has lace-up boots. The lace and the boots kind of complement the vaginal book twine.
Nice.
And then there's like the ground behind it, and then there's a fence behind it. And because all of that is so busy, they had to like paint blue over that image so that you could see the title of the book, which they've written in yellow. And the book woman is in an arc, kind of like the top of a rainbow, but the rest of it is written in flat lines.
I feel like we're going into minutia because we don't actually have the book to feel.
I actually got up and walked away for a second, and I came back and she was still talking about the cover.
Even Jonna has turned on you.
The title of the book has 3 different font looks. The book woman.
I only see 2.
It's just 2, Sabrina. One's a different size.
Yeah, font looks. I didn't say fonts.
Oh my god.
We're making up graphic design terms.
You know, honestly though, something I want to point out is why she looks pretty white.
Yeah, why isn't she blue?
Why is she so white in this cover?
That's a good point.
Oh,
the
maybe
first thing I thought
that's
of.
why the blue is painted over it.
Pretty lame.
You know,
did they want it to be a surprise? Did they want it to not seem like science fiction or something?
To be clear, when we say the woman in this story is blue, we mean she's physically the color blue. She's not sad. It's not a metaphor.
Yeah, you got to clarify. And we'll get deeper into that because it's a big part of the book. But how did you guys read it? So nobody read the physical book. Did everyone do a podcast or podcast? Jesus,
why are you
audiobook?
saying that?
Okay, sorry, because we're recording a podcast. Okay. Sorry.
She's crying. I did what's called an audio book.
Ooh. Like
I got it from the library. Similar to a podcast, but it's written down and is old.
Lucky that you got it from the library. I tried.
Thank you.
I had to pay for it. Actually, I did have a copy sitting at the library of the actual book, but my library is closing for 2 years.
Oh my God.
So it got put at a different library. I know, and I'm a big supporter.
Yeah.
That's funny.
When did you try to get this book, Jonna?
It was available to me on Sunday for pickup.
Wow, I got 2 copies of this book from the Brooklyn Public Library.
Wow.
One, she didn't get any?
One was an ebook. There were many ebooks available.
Well, nobody likes an ebook.
Right, but if it's that or pay for this book.
Sure.
Okay, well, timing
one
between
was an
these recordings
audiobook.
has been tight.
Timing has been tight.
Yeah, tight.
I had to do what I had to do.
Wow. Sounds
But
like
my library is closing. We're just blowing past that.
Yeah, what happened?
It's funny. It's funny.
It's funny to you?
Yeah, she laughed in your face as soon as you said it.
Yeah.
I can't even, the worst part is I can't even blame the mayor of New York who promised to defund libraries. Like, he was like, I promise the city that I will take money. It's because it's full of asbestos. They have to
that maps up.
They've been mitigated for 2 years.
This is now 10 years ago, but when we first started this podcast, I tried to join the library. I don't know if you guys remember this. And I went to the library to find that it was like closed.
Yeah.
At least like, I think it was maybe just for the summer, but I was just like, well, I'm not trying again. So the asbestos though, good thing they're getting that taken care of, huh? How are you feeling, by the way? How are you feeling?
How am I feeling? I've been exposed. My high school had the ceiling asbestos taken out while we were there, and literally white dust used to fall on us during class.
While you were working out, breathing hard, breathing it in hard.
I was always breathing hard in class because I was learning.
It doesn't paint a intelligent picture.
Sometimes I was in a gym class.
I thought you were talking about a gym class.
Sure.
So, I mean, at this point,
fine.
I don't know. If exposure is cumulative, which it is, because I actually work for an asbestos law firm, I know that it is. But whatever, it's too late for me.
All right. Well,
talk about something else.
So we all did the podcast, so we got to enjoy.
Oh,
the
she said podcast again.
God damn it!
Wrong with your little brain?
Look, you know what?
She meant audiobook.
It is what it is.
Did we understand her?
No.
I think.
Okay, we all did the audiobook, and it was charming because it was read in a strong Cane Tuck dialect.
I didn't find that charming.
I found, because I did split, I found reading it more enjoyable than listening to it.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
Do you guys sometimes, when you watch a TV show for a while or listen to a book for a while or read a book for a while, get that sort of voice sort of starts narrating your thoughts?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That happened with this book.
It happened in this book
it
a
did.
little bit. Yeah. Oh,
I've
man.
been living
Oh, man.
in the bookwoman's world for the last week, and it's hell. I go outside and I'm like, it's a mighty fine.
Oh my
day."
god, you guys! Mike and I and Kieran, we drove to this festival, this lavender festival. It was like an hour and a half away, but I was like, I got it. Sorry, everyone, we have to listen to this book. I'm very far behind and need to finish it.
Sorry,
And-
baby child of mine.
Sorry, everyone. But Kieran, again, 2 years old, just started like repeating random lines that he heard. Like he'd be
That's
like
pretty good.
he'd be like candle, a flame. It was just really funny because I was like, oh no, he's already. I feel like getting a bit of an accent from his Armenian daycare. I felt like, oh, you know what? It's just an expansion.
It's funny if he like starts the blue racial slur in the book. Or actually, I don't know if it's a slur so much as just what they call the blue people.
Blew it?
Blew it.
I think that's just her nickname.
Yeah.
Right?
Sounded
It's
like a
because
racial
she's
slur to
blue.
me.
It's like sometimes we shorten
But
your
it's
name
only
to
for her.
Sabri or Bree. It's not a slur.
Right, but you
I'm
don't
sorry if you
sometimes
thought
call
that.
me Whitey.
I do constantly.
It's not
That's how
it's
I-
not a
I mean,
nickname
if
for
I
her
called you-
name.
If I called you Blondie, would you be upset about it? I feel like that's closer.
No, I wouldn't be as upset. I do think there's somewhat of a difference.
Could we
At
find
the
something
very
that would
least.
upset you?
Yeah, let's keep digging.
Well, no, I just mean when you call somebody by their skin tone, I think that's different than calling them by their hair color.
Sabrina going out on a limb to make the hot take that
Sure, Sabrina, I can agree with this, but I do think that calling someone my whole issue with this entire book was like the conflating race with being blue. It was so disturbing to me. So I'm like, you know what's more different? Being like someone's black versus someone's blue. It's not the same, and it was really disturbing to me the way she pushed it for the entire book.
I will say, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I don't know if it's a spoiler. I thought that the whole book, but then when you find out that the blue people were real, it changed my perception a bit.
Okay. I knew that the blue people were real the entire book because...
But like, I mean,
did
they
you guys
were
not know?
definitely discriminated against for being blue people, which
but
sounds
like,
crazy.
for being freaks or like being like different other than. It's not the same as institutionalized racism. It's not the same as being black. It's
no,
so
it's certainly
different.
not the same, but it's definitely like they were blue people.
I
right,
think
well, we'll get
it
into
is
this. We'll get into
important
this.
to know that the book didn't just make up a thing where it's like, these people are blue.
It wasn't like Avatar.
At first it did. I didn't know that the blue people existed. And at first I was like, I need to check on the race of the author. And I checked and she was white. And I was like, okay, so this author is trying to write a book about racism.
Oh,
She
no.
couldn't write from the perspective of a black person. She desperately wanted to write. And so she went with blue. And luckily that led me down a research hole of learning that the blue people were real. And I could better appreciate the book. I'm sorry, Claire, what were you going to say?
Yeah.
I was going to say that I didn't know they were real, but I was like, this has to be real for this book to exist, and I didn't bother looking it up. The other thing I wanted to say was the way that the author presents it sometimes is literally like the black woman Queenie is discriminated against, but not like me for being blue.
Yeah.
Like that's literally some stuff that came up, which is like, that's inappropriate.
I just felt it was so much. I was like, this is so uncomfortable. Because, Jana, what you just said about it, like feeling like a white person wanted the experience, like wanted to write about racism from, and that, it still felt like that to me, that I was even knowing that, like, yeah, there was an actual people. Like, it's not, I'm not saying I think she did good research, but like, you know, she definitely took liberties, and I think this was one of them. That's what I think.
Should we sum it up and whine it up and
Yeah.
stuff like that?
Oh yeah,
A little
you
too
did.
deep in.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
so
I'm
true.
just, go ahead.
It's
go
fine.
ahead.
Clara, do you have your glasses today?
I do.
I'd love to give you the main part.
Thank you.
Clara,
Okay.
take your glasses off. Stomp on them.
And Sabrina,
No.
because you showed that you wanted it, you can be the narrator. So
Thank
Clara,
you.
you're going to be Junia.
Oh, I'm the
Wow,
donkey.
what a
That's
no small parts, just small actors.
Go ahead, Clara.
Well, some people didn't get
Take
any.
it away.
ready. Hee-haw, hee-haw. Well, butter my briskets and call me breakfast, but I reckon my name is them there Junior. And that there trusted mule, I am in that there trusted mule in the book Woman of Troublesome Creek. This here tales about me and my writer, Cussy Mary, the book woman. She's blue, by the way, yes, like the color. And we traipse round them hills and holler the old Kentucky, delivering them precious books to those poor folks dying over them Kentucky sickness way out yonder. Ah, see how them words pages work there, witching, bringing impossible dreams, old recipes, and pornography to them pores. Them sheets we carry stirs souls faster than a jackrabbit working a butter churn.
The mule stops and coughs.
Sorry, that there's my black lung. In the book, many a good, God-fearing minor characters die of the old tucky sickness. All the while, the bookwoman keeps giving them right fine old books. There's also a suitor, a Jackson, who obviously loves Cussy Mary, and I reckon it's supposed to be a surprise at the end there of the book when they marry, but I knowed it all along. All the readers knowed it, too. After all the pouring and the dying in the end, we learned that Cussy Mary don't mind being blue none at all.
The mule dies.
The end.
Very good. I think I would have enjoyed this book if it was from the mule's perspective. I think I would have really liked that.
The mule is a
that was
very
pretty
central
fun.
character, but it is not the book is not written by the mule. That was
The mule just
artistic
does
license.
the hee-hawing.
Yeah.
Speak.
The mule does some murdering. Okay, the mule does.
mule is-
Oh yeah.
Like
I
the
like
other
the mule.
Yes, like the dog in
That book.
the chemical
Chemistry.
book.
Chemical
We have another
book.
animal murder.
Oh, I must have missed
Clara,
that
good job.
book.
Thanks. Yeah, I was really
And
into it.
good job, Sabrina,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
Yes, no small parts. Good job, Sabrina.
And good job,
And
Sarah.
Sarah.
Thank
for
you.
listening.
Did I interrupt? I did not. You're welcome.
That's true. We have had people be like, I'm the door. Open.
Those people have been Sarah.
And I did not.
Sarah,
Good
was
job,
this
buddy.
enough of a summary for you? You've taken issue in the past.
No, I
but
think it was
haven't.
great.
Okay.
That was perfect amount.
Okay. Wow. Amazing.
Wow,
Okay,
she is
and-
relaxing her standards.
Wow.
I think it's
Okay.
fine. You got everything in there.
Okay. Sarah said it's great.
Well, there was
Clara
no
says
racist
it's
stuff,
fine.
but we're going to
Sabrina
talk about
said-
that.
Yes. So to go along with this beautiful summary, I'm giving you ba-da-ba-ba-ba, it's Jana's Jugs. So today, anyone that has a headache is welcome to drink electrolyte
It's
beverage.
lit.
It's lit, get lit, electrolyte, and blue raspberry, or any other blue drink you want, because obviously blue. And it will turn your body a little bit blue, so you can feel just like the blue people of Kentucky, because your tongue will turn blue. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you. She showed
Okay.
us.
If you are feeling 100% and you want to get wild, when you think of Kentucky, what drink do you think of?
Bourbon.
Really good job. That's right. So this recipe does not have
Sarah didn't
bourbon
say
in
it.
it, but it is called Kentucky Blue. And what you're going to do is you're going to take some Kentucky rye whiskey.
Okay, that's
You're
the
going to
same
mix it with blueberry liqueur.
Delicious.
some lemon
I'm sure.
juice, some simple syrup, and 8 mint leaves. Put those
Love
in a shaker.
simple syrup.
That actually sounds
Shake,
good.
shake, shake. Pour it over a big old ice cube. Garnish with a mint leaf. Boom. It's called a Kentucky
Yeah.
Blue.
I think I'd like this.
Really good job, Jono.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. The name
Yeah.
is perfect for the book.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really good job.
Wow.
Plus
Nice
the
work,
alt
Jono. All right.
option.
Well, you guys,
Yeah.
she still has to give us background on the book and author, so let's not
Yeah.
give her too much praise yet.
Wow. Let me just start by saying how many weeks it's been on the New York Times
No.
bestseller list.
No,
Should we
but
do a
first,
commercial?
let's go to you.
So sad.
We'll be right back after this commercial break. And we're back.
14
Yeah.
weeks. 14 weeks, Sarah. Okay?
Good job.
Wow.
Good
Is it
job.
still on? Is this a modern book?
No, it was
Okay.
on at some point. I believe it was 2020. It was like the
Yeah, I see
spring,
the dates are
summer
missing.
2020.
Interesting. No,
Here's a little bit about it. It is a recommended read by Dolly Parton. So that
Oh my
should tell you
God.
something.
Oh my god, I love it.
Yes. It has earned a 2020 Reader's Choice Award, 2019 Library Reads Best Book, blah, 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 blah. Oprah's Buzziest Book Picks, Women's National Book Association. It was inspired by the remarkable Blue people of Kentucky and the fierce, brave pack-horse librarians who used the power of literacy to overcome bigotry and fear during the Great Depression.
I didn't know about them before this. I did learn
Yeah.
about the pack horse
never heard of them.
librarians.
Pretty amazing. They were WPA, Works Progress Administration, I believe.
Yep.
Creation. The novel is taught widely in high schools and colleges and has been translated
Already?
into over a dozen languages. Yeah, taught widely.
That's fucking insane.
Must be for the
Kind
remedial
of
kids,
college
though, huh?
is this?
What?
This was on the author's website, so I think when we see the words taught widely, we can assume it was taught at least two
One.
colleges.
The author has a friend who works at a college.
Yes.
And that friend lightly recommended that the students read it.
Now there is some controversy.
Ooh.
The Book Woman was published in May 2019, and months after, Jojo Moyes, the popular author known for books like Me Before You, published a remarkably similar book. Her book, The Giver of Stars, also tells a fictionalized version of the pack horse librarians that served the Kentucky Hills in the 1930s. Not only that, but both books include a violent hillman who attacks a librarian because he believes she is doing, quote, the devil's work.
That's not
And
the most
both-
original thing, though.
I agree.
I believe that was a coincidence.
But Clara, do you believe that both hillmen are then trampled to death by a mule?
Well, yeah, because
Well, what else is going to happen in Kentucky, Appalachian? No, I
Additionally-
don't know. Okay.
Additionally, both books include the introduction of a smart, strong black librarian who works at a local city library but agrees to help the pack horse librarians. Both women eventually leave to work at the local city library but stay in touch by writing letters back to the girls of the Kentucky Hills. So
Oh, this is funny.
Moyes was quickly accused of plagiarism, defended herself, said she'd never heard of this book, and she had just heard about the Pack Horse Library and researched it and wanted to get the book out before anybody else. And Kim Michele Richardson, doesn't believe that. So she took the claims of plagiarism to her publisher, Sourcebooks, and Sourcebooks said no legal action necessary. But Richardson has said she is going to pursue legal action on her own.
Wait.
Wow.
Richardson wrote this book.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
And
confused.
she's-
Oh, okay.
She's potentially the one who was stolen from.
Okay. She didn't do anything wrong. That's funny though, because they just were like, if they stole it, they were like, you know what fucking sucks about this book? Blue people. Let me cut them out. Oh, it's funny.
No, it's. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess that's the one thing that's missing. I personally believe that it probably is just a linear, similar
I'm sure.
thinking. I mean,
it says that. So the second woman said she read it about a Smithsonian magazine article about it. It's like,
yeah.
So neither of you came up. I mean, sounds like the idea was kind of out there.
Months apart, like months. That's hard to write a whole freaking book.
If you can plagiarize a book that quickly, get it published out there, good for you. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
agree.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You're a Mean
it.
Book Club. We applaud that.
We'd love to steal and write a book that quickly. So let me tell you a little bit about the author. Okay, so this is pretty intense. So as a child, she was placed in a rural Kentucky orphanage, St. Thomas, St. Vincent Orphan Asylum.
What a fun name.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell it's going to be a good life.
In 2004, she and her sisters, along with 40 other plaintiffs that had lived in the institution run by the Sisters of Charity Order and the Roman Catholic Church, sued for damages suffered through alleged years of abuse by their caretakers. And Richardson wrote a book about her experiences. It's a memoir called The Unbreakable Child, which I would be interested in reading. I imagine it's pretty. Yeah.
We already read that sad orphanage book.
Yeah. Only one a year for me, but maybe 2024.
Well, let's still make fun of her if we want to, even though she had a sad childhood.
Yeah.
I think we can all just agree.
It gets better.
All right.
So, I mean, she operates a place called the Shy Rabbit, which is a home for people who want to be writers. It's just a retreat house that she created, and people that want to pursue their dreams of writing can apply to go there and work for free and finish their stories. And she pays for their residency.
Okay, should we apply to write our Christmas bus book?
I've thought about that. I think we should. And it could be
why
funny if we run into her.
And we have
You've
to
probably
explain
never heard of the podcast. She
Why
works
wouldn't she
for
have heard of
Habitat.
the podcast?
That's true. It's very popular. She works for Habitat for Humanity, and
What a nice lady.
she has two energetic mountain cur brindles, which is a type of dog from Kentucky. One was a Hurricane Harvey rescue, and the other she rescued during COVID-19. And I need to say that my own son dog, Willow, was adopted from Kentucky, Bowling Green Humane
my
Society,
God, this is
during COVID. So she might have his sibling. She might have his mother or his father or one
Or
of his
his
cousins.
best friend.
Or his best
Doesn't
fucking
it
friend.
say what kind of dog it is? A mountain cur brindle.
the
Is
kind
that
of dog that Willow is, Clara.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
I didn't know that.
I don't know
didn't
what Willow. I thought he was like a lab mix.
Yeah, I thought he was
Oh
a
my
lab.
God, you might have.
Yes.
When did she
And
adopt it?
During COVID. When
But,
I adopted
do
Willow.
we know when?
Did you look at pictures?
I looked at pictures. Yes, I did.
They look the same?
Her dog is a little bit more brown. Willow's like a black brindle. Her dog's a brown
Your hesitation
brindle.
makes me think
Yeah.
you know they're not siblings.
Okay, I've
This is
seen one of
trying.
Willow's siblings on dogancestry.com. And you know what? There's a wide
is a
variety of
thing?
fur colors.
I didn't
Oh,
know
yeah.
that was a thing.
Wisdom, or it's like Wisdom Panel. Willow has a sister named Runa.
And they
I
have
s-
a dog ancestry thing?
It's like,
I
this is
didn't
your
know
sibling.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, I reached
Remember,
out.
John
I was
told
really
this to
intense.
us and like
yeah.
she came on too strong.
They won't talk to me now. My number's blocked.
All right.
But the important thing is that probably Kim has my dog's relative, and
Oh my
for this
God.
reason, I'm not going to say anything unkind about her for this entire podcast.
Wow, this is going to be fun. That's going to be fun.
Did you
for
comment
us.
when we were talking about the racism stuff? Did you say stuff? During
no,
that?
I was silent. Actually,
Oh, okay. You'll just go silent.
I love her. I think she's a good person. I think she is. If you look at her Instagram, I think she is a genuinely really good person. And
She
I
sounds
think-
boring.
Oh, got her.
far from Sarah. Far from.
Well, tell me.
She cooks. She's got dogs.
She cooks and has
Cooking
dogs.
was not.
She's doing a library project for prisoners.
Yeah,
I don't feel great
She
about
cooks.
that.
She reads. How is that boring?
You don't feel great about that, Sarah?
Nah, that's weird.
Wow.
In a boring way.
I think I love her too.
When Jonna
you.
does the research, she gets too attached.
Yeah.
But I actually understand that, Jonna. I get attached to the research, but in a different way, I think.
Yeah, you dig in and try to find something nasty. I find one nice thing, and then I'm like, uh-oh, I might really like this person.
Yeah.
But for real, don't make fun of her. Don't be mean. This is the mother of my dog's sister or brother.
Okay.
All right, I'll just
All right.
be honestly critical. I won't do anything
Yeah, how about that?
extra. And I'll just do it in my voice.
You're not going to be a weird donkey like you were earlier.
No, and I'm not going to do that again. And I know that there was a small attempt to humiliate me with that role, Jonna.
Yeah, it was. You took it. It was really the epitome of you made it into your own thing and you took the power back because it was an attempt to humiliate you.
I've been bullied before. Know how to do it. You get them laughing with slash at you.
Really good, Clara.
You're in on it. We're all in on it now. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm having fun, actually.
I'll find a way to bully you, but I was impressed with how resilient you proved to be.
Resilient.
Well, I'm glad I said something.
Resilient, just like our main character, Cussy Mary.
Let's talk about the
Hussy.
characters.
Cussy Mary. Let's start with
You're
the
hearing
name.
that right. Like cuss word. Cussy.
Yep. Beautiful, beautiful name.
Cuss word. Is it ever brought up that it's like cuss word? That's a reason to hate her and say she's...
One time,
Okay, sorry, I didn't read
the
closely.
father says, "You're really living up to your name, making me want to cuss."
Yeah,
I
he
remember
does say
that.
that.
Yeah.
I felt like the mean women at the library center should have been talking about it. I mean, they criticized her for anything she did, but not cussy.
Go after her.
Not a
name.
weird name.
Her name's Cussy, but the mule has a beautiful name, Junia.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's unfortunate because I'm having a daughter, so I was thinking about like, oh, that's such a pretty name, but then I'd have to be like
Cussy.
Junia.
Junior.
But then I'd have to be
Junia.
like, oh, how'd you come up with it? It'd be like, oh, a book I read with the intention of making fun of it. There's this stubborn, stupid mule that murders someone.
Well, good news. Honey is still available.
It's so cute, honey. Mm-hmm. It's a little baby born in the book, honey.
We'll get to that later. First, let's talk about, there's Cussy and her dad, who just no, he's got a name, doesn't he? What the fuck is his name?
Elijah?
Elijah.
Oh, yeah, it's
that's
Elijah.
right. Elijah.
But it's
and
rarely used. It's mostly just paw.
Pa. Yeah. Pa and daughter, they call each other that because
Yeah,
they're so
he calls
creative.
her daughter.
So weird. Anyway, we kind of start the episode. Jesus Christ, Sarah.
Everything is a podcast.
You know what?
I'm
It would serve
disturbed.
both of you to think about the podcast a little bit more. So it's. I think we have to respect how much Sarah thinks about the podcast.
All right.
Wait. When you said both of you, did you mean me?
Don't worry about it.
What the fuck?
All right, you guys, this goddamn book, okay, it opens, and basically the dad is just like, you gotta marry someone, and she's like, no, and she's like, you better marry someone, and she's like, no, but I'm blue, and then it's like, nobody will marry her, oh, this one guy will, she doesn't want to go,
He's an old
Pa's
man.
making her. Yeah, he's set up to be, I think, like, he doesn't look good at the beginning. I thought this was weird, because then, like, he just pushes his daughter out the door. She gets taken by this old man Fraser. There's rape. Then the guy dies on top of her. And then all of a sudden he's a good dad. He's like taking care of her. I'm like,
Well,
you
I
sent her
think
away
that
to get
there
raped.
was more like a stupidity with his pushing her out of the house. Like he thought it would be
I don't know.
the woman would take care of her.
Sure, but he knew. He knew the types of characters that were coming, and that like nobody was. He like knew the Frasers. Also, and then like later in the book, he's like really moral and like fighting for workers' rights. I was just like, what is this character that started out being like
totally
a
agree.
stereotypical?
It was bizarre to me that at first I hated the father, and then I'm supposed to feel sympathy that he's dying of the Kentucky sickness. I'm supposed to love him. And then we find out that the suitor that comes around and sweeps her off her feet, Jackson Lovett, tried to court
Yeah, that was weird too.
her this whole time. And Pa said no. It doesn't make... The Pa character is crazy. He is like legitimately mentally ill, and it's never addressed in the book.
And you know what it is from? It's definitely from the blue. It's got to be the blue.
It could be from the blue. It could also be from the coal mines.
A lot of issues.
Oh, it's
a lot of
probably the coal
issues.
mines.
There was, one detail that I think is probably true. Did you hear how they figured out if there were gas leaks in the coal mine?
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not with
yeah.
the little bird thing.
Not a canary
What
in
is
the
it?
coal mine.
They put a candle on a mule and send it into the mine. And if there's an explosion, they know it's not safe to go back in yet.
The mule abuse in this book.
I agree.
It's tough to hear. You know, honestly, though, but everybody in this book was being abused left, right. It was just a book. If you like reading about abuse, this could be your book. This could be your book. You're gonna love
Yeah, but if you like reading about abuse with not too much detail,
Yeah, it was
or
better.
like reading about anything with not too much detail, this book might be for you.
The only thing I would say the author goes into painstaking detail on is the list of books that Cussy Mary's bringing around. Just like every 10 pages it'd be like, and now here are the books in my pack. Number 1. Number 17, a poem. I'll read the poem now.
a recipe. Yeah. So the premise, she gets a job from one of as a bookwoman, or basically librarian who travels around kind of rural Kentucky and delivers books and magazines to people who are just too lazy to walk to a, I guess.
I don't think that's
building. It was pretty much like Amazon for books, but like in the 30s. It was like people
Amazon
were like,
started as a book company.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So it's like it was
It's just
basically
the
like
origin story of Amazon.
it was like these people were just like, I don't want to walk to a bookstore and buy a book, so they like Amazoned it via Cussy.
They were extremely poor and they lived in like rugged terrain, so they couldn't
Yes.
do it or something.
The pack librarians would go 17 miles and like they'd caulk their donkeys and ford rivers and things to get to these people. These people were not able to go to the magazine rack,
And
nor did they have the money to do so.
so many of them were so like rude about the books too. There's like, these people are going so far. What are you showing us, Sabrina? Sabrina's showing us something.
Sabrina's
tell us?
making little craft projects.
Oh, it's just a tiny beer.
It's a tiny beer bottle.
It's cute.
Okay,
You
very
made
good.
it? What's it
Very
say?
good.
Well,
This
that
is Jonna.
relates to one of the characters.
You know
There's,
how
I was trying to relate the beer bottle. There was the Mr. Smith,
I'll just-
right? The guy.
I
who,
don't remember.
All right, never mind.
Clara,
Go
if
ahead.
you could not talk.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, you know how like all the people would be so excited when Bookwoman came. You know, like, to sort of help me relate as I was listening, I pretended like, what if this was someone I couldn't get TV shows and she was bringing TV shows like once a week. I'd come running out of the house, be like, "Oh, she brought Parks and Rec."
I like how you had to like find a way to make it relatably interesting to you.
I just couldn't believe people were getting that excited about Popular Mechanics magazine. They don't even have cars.
At first, I was like, how are they getting books so frequently? Like, it is hard to read this many books that quickly. I would know because of Meme Book Club. But then I remembered that there wasn't TV. And
Yeah,
so
they
that
made-
made it a little more believable to me.
It was.
I
like
wonder
the
if
only
some of
thing.
the hours I spend on Reddit, am I the asshole, are hours I would be spent reading a book, potentially. Also, Claire, when you said bookwoman again, it reminded me, it's so funny that they call her bookwoman because they also do know the word librarian and they use it a lot. I don't know why so many insist on calling her like the
But that is
bookwoman.
real.
That's what they were called.
When I was doing a little research of my own, once I found out at the very end of the book that the blue people were real, I looked it up. In Troublesome Creek, a real place, they had the book women, and there were few male employees, but everyone was called bookwoman. And I thought that was interesting because it's like all other professions where it's like mailman, assemblyman, but it was all bookwoman.
Not bookman, bookwoman.
How empowering.
So that was
Nice.
cool.
Great. Anyway, so but her other big thing is that she has the blue sickness. I can't believe it's not in this outline. Wow, we really.
She's blue.
Yeah,
So
she's
her
blue, but
skin
there's a
is
name
blue.
for it. Okay.
And like when she gets embarrassed or excited, it shows up more.
Yeah, and it's like in the fingernails and stuff. And so reading this, okay, so going into this, I didn't know before we picked this book that it had the like blue fugate blue thing in it. So, but once I saw it, once we got the reveal that, oh, she's blue, I was like, oh, this is fun. Like, I love little history, like, I love this kind of, I typically love this kind of shit where it's like,
Historical fiction.
Historical
you
fiction.
Go gaga for it.
yeah.
I
usually
hate,
fucking
honestly, it made
love
me unexcited to read this book because it was described as historical fiction.
But it was like, yeah, I hated everything to do with how the blue skin stuff was treated. It was just like, it was being hit over the head, and it just felt like I really hated all of the, like, equating it to being black. Like, it was too much, and it started to be like, this woman she just, like, really wants to be beat up or something. Like, it just felt like, it just made me feel uncomfortable. Like, why are we
who
doing
in your
this?
mind wants to be beat up?
The author, like the author's
Okay.
just like so into like being discriminated against and being like having all these horrible things happen.
Yeah. It was
Something-
too much for me
It's
when
melodrama. Yeah.
she literally said it, like, it would be better if she was black. Like, that was
Yeah, it was
too much for me.
So I guess a couple things. One, I, in my research, learned, and I don't know how strong this correlation was, but it seems like Kentucky had passed anti-incest laws, specifically addressing like the blue family who was intermarrying. And like it was like a cousin can't marry a cousin, which I was like, that is probably a good law to have. But it seemed like it was targeted at like them, like trying to target them to not reproduce. So definitely like interesting racism type things against the blue people. But then the other thing I'll say is I could certainly imagine a person incorrectly, but a blue person being like, it would just be better if I was black.
But they wouldn't be the
Because,
hero
like,
of the story.
But you
Like
like
an
you
unreliable narrator thinking
you-
that the treatment would
Yeah,
like-
not understanding what black people are going through and then making that
Right.
statement.
right.
But
but that either I think then we either need to see her
Realize,
learn that that's
yeah.
incorrect,
yes.
or maybe have it be shown. Maybe she doesn't
shown
see it,
that
but
it's
it's in the
different,
book.
But
yeah,
actually the opposite happens at the end, where it's just like, nope, it is the same. And I was just like, oh my god, this is so wild.
Also, the black characters in the book just sort of disappear. I would say,
Yeah.
3/4 of the way through, where it's like they kind of are empathizing with each other, and then we just don't really hear about that again. And she gets comfortable with her blue skin, and she marries a really nice guy, and ultimately everyone is healed. The whole town is healed.
What was that? That was the ending of the book you read?
Yeah.
What happens?
They get
What
married.
happens at the end?
And then the sheriff comes and arrests him for
And
marrying
throws
her.
him in jail.
Throws him in jail.
And you think so? That was a happy ending for you.
And then honestly, I looked down and there were like 5 to 10 minutes left, and I was like, and I'm sure he gets out of jail. And I did listen to the whole end. I guess it didn't occur to me that it didn't end happily.
Yeah, I don't think.
I guess I blacked out.
I don't think it was a happy ending. I mean,
Wait,
not.
I'm like, what was the end? Because the end
Yeah.
for me was when I had spaced out a little bit, and then
It went to the
sounded
history.
like a Wikipedia article was being
that
read
was
to me.
the very end. That was the very.
So
end.
then I backed it up to hear the end, but I only heard like the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was
She was
just
like
that-
rocking the baby or something.
I think there was like a plan to try to get out of Kentucky because Jackson was in jail. It wasn't like he was getting out of jail soon. It was like he got
It's
got
gonna
in
work
trouble.
out for them.
Okay, all right.
It's gonna be fine. Bad things do not happen to Jackson Lovett. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, he did. That love
That's
story.
a charmed
Wow.
man.
One,
Yeah, so it's one of those like this really nice, kindly, morally good man takes an interest in old Cassie. And
barely.
He seems more interested in the mule.
yeah.
giving the mule apples and flowers. And, for the whole book, she doesn't even notice that this eligible man that all the women in town love is paying her special mind. And then all of a sudden he comes out and just says it. He wants to marry her, and they get married.
Yeah, there's
Just
not
like
really
that.
any
Wow,
courting.
we saw it
No
coming.
courting.
No, there's no courting. The end, yeah.
Yeah.
no courting candle.
Nope.
Oh, yeah.
I would have loved a courting candle, though.
Why?
It's so fun. My courting candle's lit. So a courting candle is a thing where you have a candle and you light, and your suitor can only come a courting ya while the candle burns. And when it burns down to its little nub, sorry, you're out of here, buddy. And every lady only has so many courting candles.
Yeah, that
seems
sounds
like
awful.
Courting candles, you're an old maid.
It really seems like you're asking for assault at that point. It's like, then all the lights are off and you are to politely leave. It's like,
And yeah, you did. You get a lot of assault in this book. They're really unpleasant. There's also the Frasier. There's also like a preacher who wants to fuck the blue out of Cussy and is like stalking
You know what?
her
Maybe
for some
worth
reason.
a try.
I've heard of crazier things.
it's frustrating to me that she has a route that she does every week, but he was bad at stalking her. It's like, this couldn't fucking be easier.
So true.
Wait, how about the same spot where you found her last time? Like, she'll be there that time next week. Exactly. I don't understand.
Yeah, but instead he was like creeping up on the property where the dad was.
And he was always attacking her mule, or did the mule come out and then they had a fight, or would he just walk by and poke the mule? And, I don't know. It's hard for me
The
to
mule
follow.
and he had hard feelings towards one another. I think it was a mutual hatred, resulting in his eventual murder by Junior the mule, which is a really fun detail.
It is
yeah,
cool.
It was
is
fun.
cool.
It was fun that the mule did that, and then they have to
Because
hide
the mule had seen the preacher attack her, and the mule had kind of run him off before.
Yeah.
And
wait.
so
I can't remember, how does the doctor get involved? After they're
The dad does it. The dad
the
is
dad
this
calls the doctor
doctor's.
but
to be can you fix the mashed preacher?
oh,
pretty
and then
mashed.
and then he's like, nope,
The heart
he's
is
dead.
outside the body.
And then he's like, nope, he's dead. And then he's like, if you don't come, let me do medical experiments on you, I'm going to tell. That's what happened?
Yeah.
No, Sarah, he's not dead. His body done broke.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Please use the phrasing from the book.
So then she's going and getting some medical experiments done on her, and that's fun. I don't know.
Good.
That's good.
Can we also talk about how she learns to read? It was very funny to me.
Wait, can we take a quick commercial break first?
Yes.
All right. No? Yes. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right, Jonna.
Okay, so I want to talk about how Cussie learns to read, which is the book says that her mama taught her how to read using old Bibles and trash, which is extremely funny to me because it's like, wouldn't the old Bibles be enough? I think that probably is you're plenty of stories, plenty of content.
And you might be thinking trash. Well, there's on labels. There's a lot of words and stuff, but I don't think
Gold Bond powder.
That's some good reading. And so Ma wanted Cussie to be smart, but Pa liked to say, a sneaky time thief is in them books, and there's better ways to spend your time. Books are a sneaky time thief.
Just need half of that sentence. He's repeating himself there.
I like thinking of books being a sneaky time thief, though, because it makes me feel less bad about the time I spend on the internet.
it's not your
Yeah, I
fault.
was going to say, that sounds like social media to me. And I'm including Reddit in that.
Which
Just especially for you, Jonna.
They see, okay, this is the propaganda of libraries, though, right? Like, maybe Paul was right. Maybe books are sneaky time thieves. But now we think of books as like, oh, this amazing thing. And then Reddit, bad. Maybe book bad.
Maybe book bad. Maybe
I don't believe that.
I just think yeah, people just are afraid of new things. That's all.
No, I think that's a really good point, Sabrina. It good our library closed. Maybe book bad.
Book bad.
But books are also like magical and all powerful in this. Like they really like we're just always described about. Wow, I give up. I'm having a
This
stroke.
is really bad.
I'm having a stroke. It's backing away.
And she was
what
defending books.
Books took my words. I knowed it.
I will say this is genuine. It's not just because
You hate
this
books.
woman is the mother of my son's sister. I don't hate books. They hate me. I can't read them anymore. I thought this was well written. I thought it was pretty engaging.
Well, it's hard to tell if it's well written. She was using like the Kentucky broken English. Like, I don't know if that's well written.
I don't know
It's certainly
either.
annoyingly written. I don't know. I can't say if it's well written or not because I can't understand it.
I also don't feel like a
expert
lot
here.
happened. I feel like
Yeah, when we spoke in person, Jonna, I was about 6% through the book, and you said you were about halfway. And you mentioned that you thought it was well written. And I mentioned that I thought it was intentionally funny for a while. And and I don't know, after finishing the book, I don't think it was intentionally that funny.
no, it wasn't funny at all.
Like it was so flippant in its writing, which I thought was like a very fun and funny twist. And then I think when I was listening to it in the audiobook, I was like, there's just not a lot of detail here. It's not like poor sentence structure or anything like that. And I did follow everything that happened, which not all writing can get you to do, but also like so little happened. Has less ever happened in a book? And in a book where there are like there's a murder and kind of.
Yeah.
And there's a rape.
I mean, there's a murder.
But like the rape is not ever talked about. Like it's not a thing. It's nobody deals with it. She doesn't deal with it. It's wild.
Right.
I guess you're right. There's a murder, there's a wedding, there's a rape, there's a courting, and yet
nothing.
They're just all these things happen to propel like the next thing, but there's not like a bigger picture. It's like this man died so she could go back with her daddy and keep being a librarian, or like the
I think the fact that it always had to come back to, and then I could get back on my route.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Bag.
It was always getting back to the route.
yeah, that's true. It was almost like they were little interstitials so that we could hear again about how she had to like tromp through some sagebrush and Gee the mule.
And just about
Junior Gee.
people starving, and we had to keep like seeing characters that were slowly starving to death, and then like
That was awful.
that long scene where she's like she goes and there's this boy that Henry, is that his name?
Henry.
Yeah.
And she just like sits with him while he's pretty much dying, and she's like, all these other kids are gonna die too, and then she's like, all right, that was sad, and then la la la, oh, my friend who's having a baby, oh wait, her husband's dead outside of her house, oh
Sarah,
no, she's dying too. It was so
Sarah,
much.
Henry's death is so much worse than you described. It's not like she sits with a little kid while he dies. She actually makes all the other little kids gather around and says, Henry's going to tell you a story. He's a librarian too. He did it. He's a bookman. Henry, here's your badge. Will you read your first book? And the scene literally is like, yes, the dog. That's how it is written, is this child is coughing to death in front of the other children.
And so just before he
and the
passes,
other kids don't like him. Before that, he was teased.
Yes.
So, and then she pieces out. She's like,
And then she's
"Good
like,
luck."
all right.
You
Back
guys,
to my books.
she's like,
Here's
you guys
what's in
are
my
all,
bag.
she's like, all of you are dead. All of you are dying next. Peace out. Enjoy the books. Like,
Oh, he's highly contagious.
You know what I didn't like about the Henry stuff? Is like Henry really likes her. He's starving to death. He really likes her, and he has a prize that is a lifesaver, and he gives it to her, and she takes it. Like, I think even if a non-starving kid was like, I won this, and I like you so much, I want you to have it, I'd be like, no, it's yours. Even if the kid wasn't starving.
like, let the kid have the lifesaver, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't seem like she was ever...
Is she the villain?
Yeah, she's definitely the villain.
She's a villain.
I mean, she was in a
just learned.
two-person household where both of them had jobs. I think they were doing... Like, I know she was poor and stuff,
Yeah.
but, like, compared to a lot of the other families she was visiting...
She always had apples to eat.
She seemed
was
like
always
she's doing pretty
taking this
good.
apple out.
Well, to be fair, though, I think Pa's job was to go into the Kentucky mines and suck the black dust out with his mouth. And then
That's just the job
Spit
of the
it
union
out.
leader.
Yes.
I want to briefly jump back to the writing not being bad. And
you
even
agree?
Sabrina said that the sentence structure wasn't bad. But I just, Jonna, you had an example of it's not that he died, it's that his body done broke. And I just don't think it's fair for us to say that the sentence structure was good.
But it's
Because
authentic.
she is leaning on the crutch.
It's so
I don't know.
authentic.
I don't know how authentic it is. I know she could be really bad at writing, but just leaning
Okay,
on the
but
crutch
she
of
did some
authenticity.
research.
Yeah, and as the only one
Some
here that has
research.
family from Kentucky, I would say it
Okay,
felt,
making assumptions, but
it
correct
felt
ones.
right to me. So
I bet Sabrina has
Are
family
you
from
someone
Kentucky.
who has- No, I
yeah, I have family from Kentucky.
Sabrina?
Close. Are they
I
close?
have family from southwestern Pennsylvania exclusively.
Oh, god damn it. I thought we were going to get some Kentucky.
And to be clear, my family from Kentucky is my dog.
oh my god. Fuck off.
I like how
I
you
wish
gave
we were
us
in
all the
person so I
tools
could
to
slap
figure
you.
that out for ourselves. But
I didn't
we
have
didn't
the
get there,
tools.
and so you had to.
And he kept
spell
sort
it
of
out.
looking at us funny and repeating
So
family
pleased with
from
yourself.
Kentucky.
All right, blood relative.
I wish we'd ignored you when you said it was your son.
But I actually, Sabrina, I will say, as someone who also exclusively has family from southwestern Pennsylvania, I think there is some crossover, and we would know.
Oh, so you
The dialect?
you recognize that dialect?
I recognize the people behind it.
The
good, simple folk.
blanket, like, I think I get it.
I think I get it. I think I get it.
I don't know if I do.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if I do.
bougie. Forgetting your roots.
Forgetting my roots.
That was Scottish.
Forgetting my
That
roots.
sounds like Scottish.
Forgetting my roots.
But
Leprechaun.
Yeah.
blah blah blah. I don't know.
Specifically the
Lucky
Lucky Charms.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk?
I think that's it. Do you want to wrap?
we can wrap. I didn't know if you guys wanted to talk about the blue people at all, or anything you thought was fun about the blue people.
I thought it was interesting to learn that they were real.
Yeah.
I am glad that she brought my attention to that.
Yeah.
It's a blood disorder for all the listeners. And it can cause heart and lung problems as well. And
They were
it was
fine.
they were okay. Most of them lived into their 80s, so maybe it also caused longevity.
Yeah, I think it's something, basically, if you don't know what we're talking about, it's a like a genetic blood disorder where, well, it's not just genetic, but this version was, where you kind of too much iron and your blood is brown due to the lack of oxygen, and it makes your skin appear blue. And it's a recessive
Whoa, wait,
trait.
your blood is brown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was in the book, John.
And your skin is blue. I thought the blood was blue.
Our blood is blue, and then when
Until
it hits the
oxygen.
oxygen when we get cut, it's red.
Our blood
First
is blue?
grade.
Have you ever
Inside
seen
your
your
body.
veins? How they're like
Yeah, you can look at your veins and
I
find
thought
that
those were like the deoxygenated
Did you
blood
think
in
you
my
were?
body.
Were you like, I'm blue fugate?
I
No, I think you're right.
I
That
thought-
is actually, I think, there.
I thought there were red ones and there were blue ones. And you could see the blue ones here because they have deoxygenated. But when it's oxygenated, it's red.
Yeah. So that's why
But
when you
I-
bleed, it's red.
But I also saw an ultrasound of my baby
First grade.
and asked at one point if that was the belly button. So I'm also
Yeah, that's confusing. Those photos are confusing. But it's based on the blue concept. It's the blue fugates of Kentucky, if you ever want to look that up or read about it. There's not actually a ton of information. It's actually
You
disappointing.
could find more at your local library.
Not really. The big difference is that, like, the research on them was done, I think, in the 60s, whereas this book is set in the 30s. But, like, the author at the back is like, I know that's not accurate, but so I'm not going to harp on that. Not a big deal. But it is just interesting how private they are, and like there's really not like any photos of them. There's really nothing. There's really such little information about them, so it's really fascinating.
Wait, there's no photos? I found some.
Well,
Like
if you
photos,
look
definitely
online, there are what are clearly drawings, black and white photos where faces have been colored blue.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
don't let those
I
trick
found
you into
those, I found
thinking
those.
that those are real photos of Kentucky blue people.
Yeah,
Because they're, I think, a little over the top. I think the reality of it is probably that it was like a tinge of blue.
It was, yeah. Some of them were described as being very like purpley blue. Like I think it really did vary. So, the most, I think the like last one that little boy who had it was maybe like early 70s, and
Wow.
but some of them they had it just like when they were babies, and then like they kind of went away as they got older, or like they would say it would come out more if they were like angry or hot. You could see it more in like the fingernails kind of thing. It just kind of like depended on basically how badly they had it. But it was from inbreeding. It was from like, sisters marrying uncles and then cousins marrying, and it was just because inbreeding was common in that time.
And I think part of it, which they talk about in the book, is like you live in these inhospitable places. You don't meet other people outside your family.
Right. But I do think they
except
were...
for Cussie, who had all sorts of suitors.
Because she was beautiful, of course.
The actual discrimination
FYI.
they faced was more like people pointing at them, mocking them, and then like people mocking them for being like incestuous. I think that was actually more so what the issues were with the actual family and why they
If
were
you
like
want
embarrassed about it.
if you want a good incestuous watch My Brother's Keeper. Whoa, baby.
We're all looking for a good one. I was just going to ask if everybody could recommend a good incestuous watch.
Flowers in the Attic, I guess, which
Yeah.
we've already read.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course. And then, of course, what was the hotel book we just did?
Oh,
Hotel New Hampshire. You could go.
Oh, right. It was very long.
This book was longer than it should. Like for how,
Yeah.
for what happened, it
This-
could have been much shorter. This book.
It was
It
good
was
to do.
crazy how long
This
this
could have been a
book was.
novella.
This could have been a
one
sentence.
of her little. This could have been one of her little scrapbooks that she liked to make, where she cut out a few things and then pasted it together.
Also, I have to say, her love of books felt ham-fisted to me.
A lot of
Didn't
it-
feel real.
A lot of it felt ham-fisted. I totally agree.
Because she never really... Did she ever sit down and read? Or she just talked about her books?
She
I don't
just
think it was
talked
ever
about
like,
books.
Oh, good, I
She
have
just
reading
destroyed
time.
books. Cut
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
their
Rip them
pages
apart.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck her.
Fuck her, yeah, fuck her. All right, guys, you want to go and move on to Goodreads 5-star reviews, etc.?
Hell yeah.
All right,
Hell yeah.
we're going to take one more commercial break, and then we'll be right back.
I guess. If I'm great.
Ready, hello, we're back. Jana, do you want to do a few good 5-star Goodreads?
Yeah. I can do Judy if you want to do Cynthia. Okay. Judy from Goodreads, 5 stars, says, "This book broke my heart, twisted it, stomped on it, and then uplifted it. I
Was
cried
that the mule
and
or the
raged.
book?
I cried and raged as I read it. Which I would say I stop reading. That's too much emotion for you to be feeling. It sounds like you cannot handle this book. This book is an emotional hotbed kind of read dealing with extreme poverty and hardship, discrimination, and perseverance. Cussie Mary Carter, blah, blah, blah. She delivers books to isolated mountain people. These people are so poor, some are dying of starvation, but they are also starving for books."
What's more important for survival? Exactly. There wasn't enough of like people learning things from books and being able to like save their life, like learning how to like farm,
garden.
and garden, and like
Yeah,
being able to
Catch a jackrabbit.
and stop it. Yeah, but all right. This one is from Cynthia. She says, "Warning, caution. Do not attempt to read this book if you have no desire to get a serious case of the feelings. This is such a thoroughly
Ugh.
enjoyable story. I love the protagonist and most of the supporting characters and the plot twists, just like the hills of Kentucky. All in all, quite spectacular, IMHO."
I like how she's like, just be clear, I don't like the Frasers. I know they're bad, but
Most.
the other supporting characters are very good.
Yeah, I did like her specify.
I like that she used a simile like the book did. She was like, "Plot twist is rolling as the fields of Kentucky."
Yeah. I mean, I guess if anything, the book did have a lot of descriptions of Kentucky that I hadn't experienced before. That I was
Glazed over them.
maybe
Yeah.
nice.
It was kind of a good audiobook to read because you could just tune out completely and come right back. You didn't miss anything, really.
Yeah.
Except for, I guess, these descriptions of Kentucky, I think I might have missed.
Yeah. It's fine. Let me see. I wanted just this one more. Julie said, listen to this with my husband. We became fully immersed in the story and invested in the characters. We yelled and cried together, first at the injustice and suffering, and then at the unconditional love. 5 stars.
Wait, she said they yelled and cried together?
Yeah, she and her husband.
Probably like, no!
I've got to say, if I'm listening to an audiobook and there's continuous sound happening in response,
The other person.
I'm like, I need to hear the book. Now, perhaps
Do
with
we
this
need to
book, I
pause
wouldn't
it?
say that. Well, I would pause it, but like, come on.
Just
I've got a life.
Yeah. And I did listen to part of this.
Keep your moans to yourself.
I did listen to part of this with my husband, and his words were just more like, why do you do this to yourself? Like, that's more of what he said.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I'm thinking about subjecting my car riders this weekend to our next book.
Do it.
Oh, wow.
Do it.
Yeah.
It's fun. Make it sell it as a fun thing. It's fun. It's fun for everyone.
It's fun.
Read along.
Maybe you'll get a quote on the cast.
I wouldn't do it. I want these people in a good mood.
This is a car I'm taking to Sabrina's bachelorette party,
but do it. Give him a book. Give him a book.
Don't do it.
Maybe it'll make them so excited to be out of the car and be with you.
That's a
they'll
good
come
point.
with really good energy.
Ooh, and be away
Wow, Sabrina, get me away from this crazy bitch.
No.
Okay. Okay.
And Rachel, when you're listening to this later, you're welcome that I at least advocated. I can't say what Jonna decided.
I don't know that we're going to use the podcast for personal messages. Okay?
Mom, if you're listening, and I know you're not,
Please listen, Mom.
please listen in the future.
All right. Y'all want to do hate rates?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
All right.
5 out of 5. I loved the book.
Predictable.
Jonna,
Oh,
you
that's right,
can't
that's right,
just
that's right,
try
that's
to be
right.
friends with every author.
I'm not trying to be friends. I think there's a lot of similarities between Kim and I. I
my
like Kim.
God.
She's a good person. We have dogs from the same family, probably. And I genuinely did not think that this was a bad book. I really, from the bottom of my heart, it was fun to make fun of, and we can laugh about it. The truth is, I enjoyed the listen.
Wow.
You like the parts when she was listing the books that she had in her pack? You like that?
Okay? I didn't like
That's the
every
majority
second.
of the book. That's the majority of the book.
I liked the mule a lot, Junia.
Everyone
She had
liked
a lot
Junia.
of character.
Okay.
Her
Alright,
ears would
okay.
prick forward. Her ears would prick backwards.
Okay. So a lot for Junia. You got a lot of points for Junia, apparently.
Yeah.
All right. For me, I'm going to give this book a 2 out of 5. Now, the 2 are, I guess, just because I like historical fiction, and I have to admit, like, I really liked hearing that you guys didn't know that the blue people were real, and I did, and that just makes me feel superior, and so I
You
like
knew
that.
before the book?
Yeah, I like that feeling.
Oh.
Sure.
But
Fine.
I did not like the book overall. I thought it was like the ending was it was predictable, like that these two would get together. It was boring, and I just really thought it felt like somebody was writing. And it just made my eyes roll in the back of my head. The author felt like she just really wanted to write about persecution, but also be a white person, and then she found this loophole, and that's what she was going to do. And I did not like it. I didn't appreciate it. So 2 out of 5.
I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5, which is pretty high for me. But the reasons being are, like I said, you could really tune out and do whatever you wanted while the book was going on, and that's really fun for me. Especially because we had less time to read this one, and so it was helpful to do other stuff or just sort of scroll the internet. I also, you know what, Jonna had a good point that the mule was kind of fun. Like, she had expressiveness with the ears, which is pretty similar to Alfie. Not that Alfie's a hell of a lot better, but I mean, he used his ears to express, and he would kill anyone who stalked me. So I like Junia. Easy, quick thing to read. Fun cast. 1, 2, 3. 3 out of 5.
Wow, we're really letting our dogs lead us towards our ratings this time. Sabrina, interested to hear your take.
Well, I don't have a dog, so I can freely give this 1.5 out of 5.
Wow. Wow.
I did like how short it was, how easy it was to like stop listening, and it made me laugh a little. Maybe I'll give it a 2.5 out of 5. Really, I was listening to its characteristics. 2.5 out of 5. Sure, why not? Because also, this woman does seem like such a genuinely good person.
Wow.
And I hate to give her. Okay, she's up to a 5. 5 out of 5.
Jesus Christ.
For her. Because,
Just because we. Oh, God. This is
Okay, in the future, the number you say is the number you give it.
Yeah,
crazy.
I was saying 5 out of 5 the whole time.
Good.
Because,
I totally
because
agree.
of the research you learned today about the author?
This is unbelievable.
It doesn't matter why my rating is what it is. I give this book a 5 out of 5.
All right. It does a little bit,
Wish
but
I had
sure.
gone lower. Well, I wish I had gone lower.
Sabrina just slipped out of clutches of little fucker. Oh my God. She was falling
almost-
into that hole.
She was almost little.
Yes.
Why?
Because I was like, of all people who's always like, I loved this book. Oh, wow. This book was so good for the just garbage upon garbage we've read. I was expecting that Sabrina would have attached and latched on to this one and was going to be on my team. And when she came in with a 1.5,
This is insulting to Sabrina, I think, Jana.
she's
Yes.
not my little fucker. Don't worry.
Right, but I feel like
But
I feel like
you should be hers. You did an impression of her. Which brings
She's
us
not.
to little fucker. I don't know. I have to think for a moment for who my
okay.
little fucker
I
is.
mean-
Yeah, I had I was like Sabrina, and then for a while Clara, because you didn't let me bully you. But ultimately, I really respect that you were able to turn the bullying around. I thought that was really cool. And so my little fucker found its alighted on Sarah's shoulder.
Okay.
And it's because she ended the podcast by saying how superior to all of us she felt because she knew about this crazy, obscure, stupid thing that we're somehow supposed to know about. Just that there were blue people in Kentucky. So
look, I meant
that makes
superior in the way that like the whole book
Better
was
than.
better than. Yeah, sure. I meant it like this woman wrote a book thinking she was going to trick us with something cool, and she didn't fucking trick me. I already knew about
I think
bitch.
she was trying to trick anyone.
She was trying to be
I
like,
will-
"Oh,
okay.
did you not know about this?" And I'm like, "Yes, I did, bitch." And yeah, I called her a bitch.
I'm going to vote next in direct response to what Sarah just said. She tried to backtrack and say she felt like superior in general, but I do think if we read the transcript, we'll find that she specifically said superior to us because she knew and we didn't. And she was just trying to trick us like she thinks the author was. And, well, even if the author successfully got us, you didn't get me. I vote Sarah.
Good.
All right, there's a strong case for Jana with all this. I love the author because both of our dogs were adopted from the same state. Ridiculous.
And they're the same breed.
So that's a bit frustrating. And then she let that influence the rating, even though she did a good job of trashing the book and being honest about the book throughout. But I think what bothered me more was Sabrina doing the same thing but in a micro amount of time and with less details during hate rates, and with no personal for no reason, just general. The author seems nice. 5 out of 5. Fuck that. That's not the book. I vote Sabrina.
Clara, I hope you're never on a jury somewhere because
Oh my God.
The way that you dole out punishment is very funny. Accomplice
Do you
to
want
a
it?
crime. No, I
you
don't
want it to be
I don't
you?
want it. No,
Do you want it to be you?
no.
hard.
I like what you did.
Okay.
It's hard.
Well, I'm giving you credit for having some
Yeah.
for having the Willow thing. It's annoying, but at least you had a reason.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm put in a difficult position here because,
Okay.
Either I'm giving a tie to, like, giving myself a tie with someone else for fucker of the cast, or I'm just like throwing away a vote almost.
You mean
why don't
voting
you
with your
say-
heart of who you think the little
why
fucker
don't you say who
truly
you
is?
really think it is?
Yeah, all right.
It might end up being you, but you gotta say.
It's okay if it's you.
No, I mean, I think, you know what? I'm going to do it. Even though, Claire's argument was very good, and it did really bother me that Sabrina said she was doing it and then refused to give any details as to why. Jonna started it from the beginning, and she initiated it. It's a crazy
She
position
seemed kind
to
of proud
take.
of it.
It's like she forgets what the point of this podcast is. She forgets why people listen. I don't know, because it's certainly not to like just hear how great authors are. Jonna is my little fucker of the class, which I know then makes me the actual little fucker of the cast for being
But
superior.
it's good that you
That's
said who it was.
Great.
It's good
Yeah.
that you said
And
who
it was it was because I was superior, and that's what I'm taking away. Yeah. So, Mike, I asked Mike if he knew about the blue people. He said no, he thought it was. He said like mercury poisoning, which I think is another way, maybe, or you can turn blue. But I was like, no, bitch.
Really?
so.
There's
What you're
clearly
telling
guessing.
us and everyone who's listening is that you're also superior
To my
Mike.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to find. And guess what, Kieran?
And I'm sure
had
that's
no
how you-
fucking clue.
And I'm sure how you're presenting it to us now is how you said it to Mike. Hey, Mike, did you happen to know about this? I'm sure it wasn't
no worries,
contentious
no
at all.
Hey, you fucking idiot. All right. What are we reading next week, y'all? Or next episode?
Next week, we are reading Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld.
Yes. And we have...
Oh,
And
the
I'm
author of Rodham.
excited
Yes.
for this
Yeah,
one.
we've got a...
Yep.
Is an author repeat, but she earned her way back on.
Yeah, we're
I
it's gonna be good.
really, really sincerely hope that the penis of any of our former presidents is not a main character in this book.
We'll find out.
And Sabrina's just talking. Not really.
I don't know what that
It's
relates
not a reference to anything.
Not really anything. It could be. It's supposed to be about a late night comedy show, and I think penises tend to come up a lot.
Yeah.
On those. In fact, that specific penis probably comes up more on late night comedy than any other penis in the world.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I think the odds that Bill Clinton's penises are in this book are far from zero.
And if that penis does make an appearance,
Yeah.
I'm worried about Curtis.
All that
What's
and
the
more
obsession?
next episode.
All right.
Why the obsession?
Follow us on Meme Book.
We find out.
Follow us on the socials, Meme Book Club. Please become a patron on Patreon, a patron of the Mean Arts. You're going to get a bonus episode every
That's cute.
season.
She's been saying it for years.
Just showing me you just. Now I'm mad I didn't
Mean
vote for
Arts?
you. I
Yep.
say it like almost every time. You don't listen to me.
You've never said that while I've been on the cast.
Sabrina, we record these. We can prove you wrong so easily.
I am just
Go
like
ahead,
an
do
audiobook
it.
to you. Okay. All right. Will do if I feel like it in the edit. So anybody else have anything to plug? No, we never do. We never plug anything. All right, guys. We're so excited to see you next episode. Bye.
Bye
Goodbye.
bye.
Good night.
It's nighttime here.